Okay, now we're here for version number 3. That's right, I'm trying to figure this out. So I'm bringing you along with me with this journey. Just skip this video if you're not interested in learning what I've learned today. But, okay, so yesterday I went through and I decorated this. I've taken it all apart again. So there's no stickers because I reused them on another spread. Okay, so I was using my HP premium 32-pound paper, which is a very, very common paper for planner inserts. And I didn't stamp the 5 in here because it just bled through too much. So as I had mentioned through the course of these videos, I don't mind the ghosting, but I do mind the bleeding. So here with rainy days, there is a lot of bleeding, not just ghosting, but a lot of bleeding. So this S I would consider a ghost, and this Y I would consider a bleed. Okay, so the S I don't necessarily mind because it'll kind of blend in with all my other plans, but the other ones is just too dark of a transfer to the back of the paper, and I just don't like it. And the idea is to be stamping into the planner and, you know, doing all the things that I want to do. So today I took a trip to Kelly Paper. Luckily, I have one not too far away from my house, and I found this paper. And so I quickly took everything apart from the previous spread that I did last night, and I put this together. Don't worry, I'm not going to do a plan with me today. I will not ask you to go through that one more time for the 3rd time. I'm not going to do that. So, but I went ahead and I did this beforehand and then wanted to record this video to show you what I have found just in case it helps someone. So here is the spread. So you'll see that I restamped Rainy Days, and you'll see that on this side, it looks fine. So again, I don't mind the minor ghosting. Like, it's just, it doesn't even bother me. As a matter of fact, it probably shows up more here on camera than it does in real life. So I'm so happy. And this is, now this is not as bright white as the HP 32. You can kind of see this is just a little bit brighter. However, it's not as dingy as the Erin Condren paper. So it's still brighter than the Erin Condren paper, so that makes me happy. I went ahead and with the inserts that I created, I did 2 things. So first of all, I took my stamps to Kelly Paper with me, and I was on a mission, and I told the guy there I need help finding the right paper that I can feed through my inkjet printer to do my planner printables, but I wanted to be able to handle these inks that I use and blah blah blah. So luckily he was very helpful, and what I had taken with me was a couple of things. I took with me the HP Premium 32 planner paper that everybody uses, the one that bled through. I took that. I also took this with me. This is by Catherine Puller, and this is her Club Circe like planner. It's just a dot grid, and these are pretty thick, so they do handle her inks, which is nice. I mean, you know, she sells her own inks, so of course her planner paper is going to be able to hold those inks. So anyway, so this is pretty thick. So, and it's a little on the yellow side again. Okay, so I took this, and then I also took this. This is a great planner by the Sassy Club. I don't know if you guys had seen this, but this is a planner where you can stamp and you can use your Copics, which is like phenomenal. So this is something that I was just playing with, and as you can see on the other side, no ghosting, no bleeding, and I used my Copics and like totally saturated this paper with Copics to do this cover page. So this paper is just pretty amazing. And so this is what the planner looks like. It's just a vertical. It's completely blank, so you can just completely decorate it however you want. However, I'm not a vertical planner, but I was very interested in this paper. I just found it so fascinating that it could handle Copics. So I took one of these pages with me as well. So I'm like, come on, I gotta find a printer paper. a paper that's going to work. So anyway, this came, I believe this came spiral browned, and I took it apart, chopped off the spiral, and put it in onto discs. So I have that. But again, I'm not a vertical planner, so I don't have plans for that yet. And then this is just very Bujo style, which is, you know, I'm not there yet, so I wasn't able to use this. But then I was kind of thinking, oh, what about if I cut this up and feed this through? But this was just a little too thick. And I want to be able to, you know, get more paper and be able to print as much as I want. I don't want to have to worry about what if they stop producing these notebooks, what if they change the paper, you know, things like that. I wanted something that everybody, even all of you watching, if you're watching, can go out and buy. So anyway, so I found this. We found it right away. He was very, very helpful. And, you know, this is just something you can get on Amazon, which is really awesome. Now, it isn't thin like planner paper. You know, it's a little on the cardstock side, but not too much. You know what I'm saying? So it is thicker, but in my opinion, it's not too thick. It's like the perfect medium. So he gave me 3 different weights of this paper. And I chose the middle one because I felt like the heavier one was just a little too heavy. And then the lighter one just had a little bit of bleed through, just a little bit, barely, but enough for me to be conscious of what color inks I'm using, so I don't use too dark of an ink in case it's going to bleed through. So, and I don't want to worry about that. I want to be able to use my inks, even my dark blues, just like this up here. I want to be able to use all my inks, I stamped these, freely, without having to worry so much, okay? So, because I really want to give this whole stamping thing a try. So, anyway, so this is what I came up with. And you can see I stamped March on both of these, and you can't even really see it there. You can see a little bit of rainy right here, but barely. And I'm going to flip here. I stamped that directly into the planner, that 5, and here you can't even see it. Okay? Whereas before, let me see if I can find a sample. Hold on. Yeah. Here's the 5s that I was stamping on video, and then it has just way too much bleed through. That was just not acceptable for me. So here's the same ink, okay, for the rainy days. And on this one, it just, so much better. You can kind of see the difference? Okay, so pretty happy. Did all this stamping. Wait. Yeah, this is it, right? Yeah, okay. And then this time I ended up using my T-square ruler, and I drew a line so my rainy was straight. I didn't do it for days, but I did it for rainy. So anyway, so I'm pretty happy with this. I even stamped in a dark, dark navy blue for one of my nephew's birthdays. And again, not bad on the other side. I can totally deal with that. So not a problem. Okay, so what is this paper? That's a good question. I have it on the other side of my room. Let me grab it. So I was very, very happy to see that it's this accent opaque digital. This is the same paper that I use for my card bases and that I use for my card panels for card making. However, this is a lot lighter than what I use for card making. So this is, it says cover smooth. You can go ahead and take a screenshot. Let's see if it'll focus. Okay, maybe not. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't want to really focus for some reason. So I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. It just says cover smooth. It's 65 pound, 176 GSM. Okay, so I'm looking over in my card station, and the lightest paper that I use there is 216 GSM, so this is even lighter. And then the heaviest I use is 325 GSM, which is an incredible, wonderful paper for card bases. I really recommend it. So anyway, this is what I'm using for my planner. 65 pound, 176 GSM. So I'll go ahead and link it below because I'm sure it's available on Amazon. I haven't checked, but I buy all this brand on Amazon anyway, so I'm sure that it's going to be there. So that's another really good thing, is it's affordable. That ream at Kelly Paper was under $20, and I would imagine that on Amazon it's going to be even less, hopefully. Unfortunately, they don't do price match with Amazon, but I am so happy because I can stamp to my content in this planner. Okay, so the other change that I made is I normally use an A5, right? When you use A5 and you're dealing with letter size paper, there's a lot of waste when you trim it down because 2 A5 sheets do not fit on 1 sheet of letter paper. You can only get 1 sheet out of 1 sheet of letter size paper if you're trimming down to A5. So I made a decision to go ahead and create this in a half letter size. That way I can get 2 sheets out of 1 sheet of letter size paper. So it's a half sheet letter. So that's what this is. It's very, very similar to A5. And I'll show you. So this is A5, okay? And then this is my half letter. So it's about, let's see, about 0.325 inches. It's not a half an inch. It's 1/8 of an inch shorter than half an inch. But anyway, so it's a little over, let's see. It's a little over 1/4 of an inch shorter than A5, which to me is not a big deal when you can really maximize the paper. So what I did is I just simply cut my paper in half. And then I did match it up to the height of an A5. So instead of going 8.5 inches tall, I did trim it down by just 1/4 of an inch to 8.25, just like A5. So this made it to where I didn't feel like there was so much wasted paper. Okay, so this is 5.5 across instead of 5.75 or 5.8. So not too much of a difference. So I'm pretty happy with this. I think this is the route I'm going to go until I decide that it's not working for me. Hopefully I won't go that route, but you never know. But so far this is like inching towards planner piece because it's a little more of what I'm used to. I also created a margin up here where previously, I will show you. Previously I didn't have a margin here. So I went ahead and I shortened these boxes a little bit so that I could have a margin, so I could have I could use my monthly stamps and put them there. So here you can see it transitions into April on the opposite side of that page. So, and so that I can decorate with washi or just, you know, have a little bit of more room, I thought that margin was necessary at the top. So another thing I want to mention is the way I print my inserts is I cut my paper down before I print the inserts. So a lot of people will, especially if their inserts are 2 up, which means 2 to a page, to a letter size page, a lot of people will print first and then they'll cut according to crop marks. And I have found that so many printers just aren't that accurate, especially when duplex printing, that you can never really get the duplex spot on in the center of the page. And so when you cut, something is sacrificed. It's just not perfect. So I find that when I cut my inserts down to size and then print them in the printer in the size that they are meant to be, and I print like that, it comes out just fine. So anyway, I think I have a video on that already on my channel. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you. Just did a little bit of investigating today to find a better paper for me to print on so that I could use my stamps freely. And I'm using Close to My Heart stamps, and I'm using, inks, and I'm using Catherine Puller inks. And they are both just really fantastic. For this particular spread, I used these 2 inks, which is Avocado and Glacier from Close to My Heart. And then I used 2 of these inks from Catherine Puller, Dress Blues and Catching Rays. So what I'm going to do now is not on video, but next in my craft room, is I'm going to create a swatch book using this paper now. And so I can see the bleed through. So I'll show you a little bit of what that looks like, because I spent some time yesterday creating a swatch book for, for this A5, this normal planner paper that I was planning on using. So I basically did this for nothing last night, but I was on a roll. So I was just trying to figure out, okay, what kind of inks can I use? What kind of inks, what colors can I use? Some are a little more forgiving than others. The darker ones bleed through. The lighter ones will just have a little bit of ghosting on the other side. But again, even as I did this test, it really just, I just didn't feel comfortable using this paper stamping in my planner. I wanted something a little more durable, which we found. So now I'm going to recreate these using the papers that I found today. So anyway, I had created this, and so I suggest that if you are planning on stamping in your planner, this is a really good tool to have. So these are just my Catherine Puller inks. It's just something that I did last night. I just created this template. I put all the red violets here. And then I used two different stamps. I used a line stamp, which is this one here, and then I used a solid stamp, because when you're stamping in your planner, those two stamps, they differ on how they're going to bleed through, because one has more ink on it than the other, right? So it saturates more. So anyway, I created this so that I can turn it over. So I didn't print on this side. So I can turn it over and see my bleed through and pick my colors depending on how it performed during this test. And so again, I just found as I was doing this, I was like, it's bleeding too much. It's just bleeding too much for my comfort level. I mean, I'm okay with some ghosting, but it was just a little too much. And that's when I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll go to Kelly Paper tomorrow. I'll take my Catherine Puller notebook. I'll take my Sassy Plans Copic planner. You know, I'll take all of that and we'll see what I can come up with. I'll take my stamps. I took a solid stamp and my stamp pads and everything. And I was like, and I'll test them right there before I buy. And so, yeah, so that's what I did. Found something good. So I'm going to recreate this just so that I have, so I know exactly what the colors look like when I'm going to stamp them in my planner. Having an index like this and a reference like this is just really helpful when you really want to match your inks to your sticker kits and things like that. So that's what this is for. I'm going to do that for the Catherine Puller inks just like I did here, and then I'm going to create another swatch list for my Close to My Heart inks, because those are the two inks that I'm going to be using a lot in my planner to see if this works out. So anyway, just thought I'd take you along for that as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and especially on this roller coaster of trying to figure out what I'm doing with my planner here. But I think I have a good choice right here. I think it's going to look good in my planner, and I love that I can use any inks within these two companies that I'm using, and the ghosting is not bad at all. Not bad at all. Can't complain. So anyway, want to share that with you. Thanks again for coming along, and give this a thumbs up if you found my investigation helpful. Thank you. Bye-bye.